Boris Johnson has been told to snatch full control of fishing waters from the EU after he pledged to strengthen the UK fishing industry as thousands face export chaos due to post-Brexit red tape. The introduction of new checks and paperwork since the end of the Brexit transition period on December 31 has caused disruption to exports of fresh fish and seafood to the EU, to the frustration and anger of fishing organisations and producers. Since January 1, shellfish fishermen have also only been able to send pre-purified shellfish to the continent. It comes after the EU classed the Britain's waters as Class B, instead of the cleanest waters, categorized as Class A, putting trade restrictions in place. During a trip to Cornwall, Boris Johnson said he recognised the post-Brexit export chaos and pledged the UK government were working flat out to resolve it. But Ben Habib, former Brexit Party MEP, said, instead of making a new pledge to protect our fishermen, Boris Johnson should honour the pledge he made in order to get elected. Take back full control of our territorial waters. June Mummery, another former MEP, claimed Mr. Johnson had lied to British fishermen and coastal communities to put yourself in power. Mr. Johnson said, the first thing is that of course, I recognise the disruption and anxiety that some fishermen have had as a result of the changes and were working flat out. Eventually of course there will be significant opportunities for the UK fishing industry particularly here in Cornwall, but there is no question that there have been problems in the last few months. He admitted the fishing industry also hadn't been helped by the restaurant trade on the continent, because of COVID and in our own restaurants. But he made clear, but there are unquestionable additional problems that we have had to iron out, and that is why we are putting in a £2 million fund for short-term problems and a £10,000 fund to help individuals, that is £10,000 for individuals' logistical problems. What we want to do is use the £100 million long-term fund really to strengthen the fishing industry in Cornwall and across the whole of the UK, so build their long-term future, because in a few years' time we are going to have access. The ability to fish all our fish in our waters, and frankly we need to train people in our fishing fleet communities to be ready for that. 6:45 a.m. Update, Macron panic, Marine Le Pen support surges in damning poll for French president. Marine Le Pen secured the top spot for biggest rival of Emmanuel Macron at the 2022 presidential elections in the latest damning poll for the French leader. 1 year before the first round of the French presidential elections, an IFOP investigation fiducial carried out for the JDD and Sud Radio revealed that Marine Le Pen is increasingly the only candidate capable of unseating Emmanuel Macron. 5 a.m. Update, not again. Macron sidekick Beaune attacks AstraZeneca, they made fun of Europeans. Clement Beaune has once again lashed out against Oxford jab producers AstraZeneca in the latest attack on the pharmaceutical company coming from Europe. The French European Affairs Minister accused the Anglo-Swedish vaccine producers of making fun of Europeans. He said, AstraZeneca did not honor its commitments and in a way made fun of Europeans. Speaking in an interview on LCI television, Mr. Beaune also took the opportunity to reiterate vaccines produced in the EU will not be shared with the UK before the majority of European citizens are inoculated. He said, the agreement with England is secondary. We need doses, our priority is to vaccinate Europeans and the French. 3:45 a.m. Update, Brexit Britain sees record confidence for big businesses. A survey of chief finance officers showed confidence in big businesses for the next year's profits has hit a record high. After the biggest hit to Britain's economy in more than 3 centuries last year, accountancy firm Deloitte said its poll found CFOs were planning to increase hiring and investment. Most workers were expected to return to their offices between July and September after working from home for much of the past year. Almost 10% of CFOs had experienced significant or severe disruption due to Brexit, but only 3% expected that level of disruption to persist in a year's time, Deloitte said on Monday. Ian Stewart, Deloitte's chief economist, said, Brexit has been a significant dampener on business activity in the last 4 years, but with the UK's final departure from the EU, such effects are fading. Combined with a successful vaccine rollout and a greatly improved global backdrop, we are seeing a turbocharged surge in business optimism. 2:10 a.m. Update, EU and AstraZeneca have positive meeting amid vaccine row. AstraZeneca had a positive meeting with the European Commission last week, the Anglo-Swedish company said after an Italian newspaper said the group had not replied to an EU letter of complaint over COVID-19 vaccines within a 20-day deadline. European Union member states and the pharmaceutical company are at odds over the delivery of shots after the group shipped less than indicated to the EU than in the initial agreement. Italian daily Corriere della Sera said on Sunday AstraZeneca had yet to react to a letter sent by the Commission on March 19 to complain about low contract supplies of COVID-19 vaccines. AstraZeneca's Director of Global Media Relations Matthew Kent said to ABC-CBN News, "We can confirm we have responded to the Commission within the required time frame of the dispute resolution mechanism, and that our team had a very collaborative meeting with the Commission last week." 1:10 a.m. Update, Boris told to rip up Brexit deal as Britain waits for EU ratification, pull plug now. Boris Johnson has been told to snatch full control of fishing waters from the EU after he pledged to strengthen the UK fishing industry as thousands face export chaos due to post-Brexit red tape. Ben Habib, former Brexit Party MEP, said, "Instead of making a new pledge to protect our fishermen, Boris Johnson should honor the pledge he made in order to get elected. Take back full control of our territorial waters." June Mummery, another former MEP, claimed Mr. Johnson had lied to British fishermen and coastal communities to put yourself in power. 12:25 a.m. Update, Macron shame, hundreds queue for food parcels as France faces £12 billion economic black hole. Emmanuel Macron has been shamed after footage emerged of hundreds of people queuing up for food parcels in Paris, as France faces a £12 billion economic black hole. Shocking footage showed several hundred young people and students facing financial precariousness queuing up in Paris's ground control square. Christopher Dembick, an economist at Berenberg, said, Macron had long shied away from a stricter lockdown in order to prevent a new decline in economic activity. But the surging infections numbers left him little choice in the end. Even with a strong rebound in activity from early May onwards, the tighter April lockdown will weigh heavily on the second quarter average for GDP. 11:10 p.m. Update, Joe Biden, very concerned with EU, Brussels warned it's playing dangerous game. The EU has been warned it's playing a dangerous game with its relations with US President Joe Biden. Tory MP for Clyde West David Jones told Express.co.uk the EU's threats to block vaccine exports will have damaged US relations, as some member states look to Russia and China for jabs. He warned the U.S. president will be looking carefully at the EU's actions, and added, "I would think that Biden will have been very concerned to see what's happened because of course, it's AstraZeneca today, it's Pfizer tomorrow." Of course, the other point is not just China, but the way that they've cozied up to Russia, over the Sputnik V vaccine, and the way that Germany continues to have this Nord Stream 2 relationship with Russia. So I think the Americans will be looking very carefully at that, and I think that once Biden, sort of, in fact, as he has already, but leaves the post-election period, he's going to be looking at what's happening in Northern Ireland. It's a very dangerous game that they're playing. Dylan Donnelly takes over from Paul Withers. 10 p.m. Update, Westminster cannot stand in the way of Indirif 2 Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon is confident Boris Johnson will not prevent a second referendum on Scottish independence if the SNP wins a majority at the Scottish election on May 6. Scotland's First Minister told The Guardian, "If people in Scotland vote for a party saying, when the time is right, there should be an independence referendum, you cannot stand in the way of that, and I don't think that is what will happen." She believes talks with the UK government have moved away from "we can stop a referendum" to "when would it happen, and on what basis would it happen?" Ms. Sturgeon added, "People will always challenge that because of what the supposed position of the UK government is." The SNP leader is pretty confident her party's Plan B of a referendum bill at Scottish Parliament won't be needed. She also said, if you're somebody that voted no in 2014 and because of Brexit or other things, are now open-minded to independence, and I know an awful lot of these people, and you hear somebody say they think they can bulldoze their way to independence in spite of public opinion, I would think, maybe I don't want to engage in this anymore. 8:45 p.m. Update, UK and EU edge closer to agreement on how to apply trade rules for Northern Ireland. Britain and the EU are making steady progress in their attempts to agree on how to apply post-Brexit trade rules in Northern Ireland, the Financial Times has reported. The report added EU Brexit Commissioner Maros Sefcovic and his UK counterpart David Frost could meet as soon as this week to take stock of the progress made in negotiations. 7:15 p.m. Update, what have EU been doing? Dithering Brussels issued warning shot over Brexit deal. Brussels has been warned it must ratify the Brexit deal by the end of this month as the UK will not approve another extension, an MP has claimed. Earlier this year, the UK granted an extension to the ratification process for MEPs but Tory MP for Clyde West David Jones attacked Brussels over its lack of action over the Trade and Cooperation Agreement (TAC). The Brexit deal has been applied provisionally since January 1, causing Mr. Jones to claim the EU is not abiding by the spirit of the deal. With the EU yet to ratify the deal 4 months after it was agreed, Mr. Jones urged the Prime Minister to reject any further extension requests from Brussels. Indeed, Mr. Jones claimed the UK should be prepared to stand firm as MEPs dither over the landmark deal. 5:45 p.m. Update, Lord Adonis uses Prince Philip's death to claim royal family as a European institution. Ardent Europhile Lord Andrew Adonis has been criticised after appearing to politicise Prince Philip's death by using it to call for Britain to rejoin the EU. Just hours after the Duke of Edinburgh died on Friday, the unapologetic rejoiner couldn't resist taking a dig at the democratic will of the people. As warm and apolitical tributes flowed in from across the world, the politician tweeted, Prince Philip was immediately related to 2 of Europe's reigning monarchies, Britain and Denmark, and to another 2 other royal houses, Greece and Glucksburg. There is no more European institution than Britain's royal family, and yesterday Lord Adonis, who served in the cabinets of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, continued pushing the message by tweeting, it is now 100 days of Brexit. What a disaster. In a later remark, he said, the best thing for Britain would be to go back into the EU. His outrageous posts quickly attracted the ire of furious commentators. 4:30 p.m. Update, Brexit poll, should Boris pull plug on EU deal if bloc delays ratification again? Vote. Boris Johnson agreed the landmark Brexit deal in December but the EU has still failed to ratify the agreement, so should the Prime Minister pull the plug on the trade pact? 3:14 p.m. Update, Frexit will rise. Campaigner warns EU will pay the price for vaccine economic disaster. A leading Frexit campaigner has warned the European Union will pay the price once French people realize the hundreds of billions of pounds the chaotic vaccine rollout will cost, and will drive the country towards the bloc's exit door. Charles-Henri Gallois, president of the Generation Frexit movement in France, has piled the pressure on French President Emmanuel Macron and the EU, warning the fury felt throughout France is injecting momentum into the country soon becoming the next country to follow Britain out of the bloc. He told Express.co.uk, the chaotic rollout of vaccines throughout the EU is the best advert for Frexit. One day of COVID-19 costs us €3 billion per week. It has been calculated that the vaccination delay will cost €123 billion for each EU country. When the French will be forced to pay the bill, the EU will pay the price and Frexit will rise. Paul Withers taking over live reporting from Richard Percival. 2 p.m. Update, Boris secures crucial spot for UK and EU space project after spat with bloc broke out. Boris Johnson has secured Britain's spot in a major space program after the EU threatened to exclude the UK despite receiving funds from London pre-Brexit. Brussels planned to exclude UK scientists from the project, despite the government already footing a significant amount of taxpayers' money before Brexit. Now the Prime Minister has committed to an extra £250 million injection into the Horizon space program to keep Britain's spot. 1 p.m. update, Liz Truss nears New Zealand trade deal. The UK is closing in on a post-Brexit free trade deal with New Zealand as final talks with Kiwi counterparts are set to begin. Liz Truss and her Department for International Trade colleagues will take part in the fourth round of talks on securing a free trade agreement, potentially worth many billions of pounds next week. The landmark deal will slash tariffs on wine imports alongside gin, meaning wine from the Commonwealth nation will be cheaper on the supermarket shelves alongside New Zealand lamb. 12 p.m. update, Labour could drag UK back into the EU control, warns expert, alert over 2024 election. Brexit could soon be reversed under a Labour plot to realign with the EU, an expert has claimed. Despite leaving the bloc, one academic warned a Labour government may look to realign the UK with the EU's single market and customs union. Speaking to Express.co.uk, Professor Alex de Ruyter of Birmingham City University claimed elements of the UK's departure from the EU may soon be reversed if Sir Keir Starmer navigates a successful election campaign. 11 a.m. update, Union cracks start to show. Boris Johnson faces biggest test yet for Brexit Britain. Boris Johnson is facing his biggest test as he seeks to make a success out of Brexit Britain, analysts claim. The Prime Minister boldly claimed that freeing ourselves from the EU would allow global Britain to flourish. But some in Scotland and Wales have exploited the historic 2016 referendum to try and break up the 300-year-old union. 10 a.m. update, fishing war erupts. Jersey fishermen attack EU plundering waters not in spirit of deal. Jersey fishermen have raged at French counterparts claiming local waters are being plundered as a new post-Brexit fishing relationship sparks tension in the region. The Jersey Fishing Association also claimed Jersey ministers were trying to start a war with French counterparts over post-Brexit fishing rights. It comes after the Jersey government agreed to a second amnesty period until June 30 to allow French fishermen access to the island's waters following demands from Paris and Brussels. 9 a.m. update, EU Chief von der Leyen told to admit errors and stop same mistakes needs new strategy. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen should admit the mistakes she made in her handling of the coronavirus pandemic and appoint a new team of experts to manage the response, according to a leading pro-EU think tank. Friends of Europe said the health crisis had already overwhelmed Ms. von der Leyen's presidency of the European Commission and undermined the credibility of the bloc itself as well as putting any future European integration at risk. Director Giles Merritt warned Ms. von der Leyen must stop repeating the same mistakes and urged her to tone down her attacks on Boris Johnson and the British drug firm AstraZeneca. 8 a.m. update, absence of Brexit-related uncertainty improving employment prospects. Employment prospects are improving amid the success of the vaccine rollout and extension of the job retention scheme, new research suggests. Business advisory firm BDO said there were green shoots of optimism in the UK economy following the vaccine rollout and ongoing government support for businesses. But the pandemic has had a huge impact on employment, with the number of payroll employees down by 693,000 on a year ago, said the report. Optimism has also been fueled by the absence of Brexit-related uncertainty, as businesses adjust to Britain's new relationship with the EU, said BDO. 8 a.m. update, absence of Brexit-related uncertainty improving employment prospects. Employment prospects are improving amid the success of the vaccine rollout and extension of the job retention scheme, new research suggests. Business advisory firm BDO said there were green shoots of optimism in the UK economy following the vaccine rollout and ongoing government support for businesses. But the pandemic has had a huge impact on employment, with the number of payroll employees down by 693,000 on a year ago, said the report. Optimism has also been fueled by the absence of Brexit-related uncertainty, as businesses adjust to Britain's new relationship with the EU, said BDO.